All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to begin this lesson by giving all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High and the proper names in the Paleo-Hebrew tongue. I want to say, Kal Halayim, La Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Rakakadash Ma'amaf. Yahweh being the name of the Heavenly Father, whom the world eagerly and willingly call God or Jehovah. Bahashim meaning in the name of Yahushai, meaning he who delivers, whom the world eagerly and willingly call JC, being the only begotten Son of Yahweh. I want to give a double honor to the elders and apostles at Great Millstone who rule well, and another double honor to my elder apostle as well, Aharawan bin Yasha'Allah of the Lions Den camp here in Jacksonville, Florida. Salutations to the 144,000 hopeful elect pushing this truth across the four winds, and to the 1/3 remnant believers on Yahweh Shema Shah Shalom Shalom. It's going to be a quick lesson put together through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shah, and I pray that it be edifying. So I'm gonna get straight into it. The book of 2 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 22, it says, "Flee also youthful lust, but follow righteousness, faith, charity, peace with them that call on the Lord out of a pure heart." So all right, when you come into this truth, you gotta put off the old man and become a new creature and put on a new man. Actually grow in this truth and apply what you read to your life. It says, but follow righteousness, faith, charity, peace. So these are characteristics that will come with being that new man. You see what I'm saying? Righteousness, doing everything in righteousness, having faith towards Yahweh Shema Shah, and having charity. The true charity is this work. Basically us spreading this gospel across the four corners of the earth by way of teaching and preaching. It says peace with them that call on the Lord out of a pure heart. So right, those the brothers, that be scattered across the four corners of the earth that call on the name of the Lord in truth and sincerity. Right? It says, but foolish and unlearned questions avoid, knowing that they do gender strife. So right, you don't want to be out here just asking all type of dumb questions. Trying to be deep, extra deep. Just asking foolish questions. It says, and the servant of the Lord must not strive, but be gentle unto all men, apt to teach and patient. So right, it's going to be brothers that have a righteous question. You see what I'm saying? That's going to ask you questions in righteousness, and you want to come kind of, you don't want to be a nigga. You see what I'm saying? Be a nigga. First thing you do is curse the brother out, call the brother all type of bitch ass, dumb ass niggas and all type of shit. And then, the Yahweh Shah, he wasn't talking to his brothers like that. You feel what I'm saying? It says, and the servant of the Lord must not strive, but be gentle unto all men. So right, we were put on this earth to be wise as serpents and harmless as doves. Most people come to this truth, they have hella anger. You see what I'm saying? They never really cast off the scripture say give place unto wrath. You see what I'm saying? Give place unto wrath, but don't, walk around this earth feeling as if you can handle shit on your own, or, do things based off your own will. Put the flesh before the spirit of Yahweh Shema Shah. It says, but be gentle unto all men, apt to teach, ready to teach, ready to teach your brother. You see what I'm saying? Ready to answer your brother's question. Ready to help your brother get to the next level, just like your older brother helped you get to the next level. You see what I'm saying? That's the goal that we have, and that's basically us feeding Yahweh Shema Shah sheep. It says, but be gentle unto all men, apt to teach and patient. So all right, man, you have to have some form of patience about yourself when you basically come to Yahweh Shema Shah's truth and become a shepherd, over his sheep. You can't have hella anger. As soon as somebody asks you a question, the first thing you want to do is snap, all dumbass, bitch ass nigga. You see what I'm saying? And then now you trying to convince yourself that you basically in the spirit. Why, why you cursing the brother out? As soon as somebody come at you like that, the first thing you gonna say is the nigga wicked. Nigga, you wicked. You see what I'm saying? So right. It says verse 25, in meekness instructing those that impose themselves. All right, you want to be humble and meek. And Yahweh Shema Shah have basically given us examples. You have good examples, over here in the Lions Den camp, being the elder Harwan and the bishop. You see what I'm saying? The Bishop Canuck, you know. And it says, in meekness, instructing those that oppose themselves, if Yahweh preadventure will give them repentance to the acknowledging of the truth. All right. You know, we fishing. You know, Yahweh Shem Hashai basically made us fishers of men. You know, you don't know what you're gonna pull up. You know, you throw the bag back in the river, and the fish you put them in, and basically you lead them where they're supposed to go. It says, verse 26, is that they may recover themselves out of the snare of the devil, who are taken captive by him at his will. So, all right, you a shepherd, man. You know, when you a shepherd, you know, you have to actually put in work to be that shepherd. You know, not going outside, you know, with a damn stick, you know, beating the damn sheep across the head, you know, every time you have a slight attitude about yourself. You see what I'm saying? The first thing that come out your mouth is wickedness or impatientness. You see what I'm saying? Niggardness. You acting like a damn nigga and snapping on their damn body because somebody asked you a question. And now, you feel me? And then now when a person who you snapping on put his head down and come in meekness, now you want to be humble. Nigga, that's not the spirit of Yahweh Shem Shah. The spirit of Yahweh Shem Shah, you're going to come like how Yahweh Shah was. Which Yahweh Shah, he was doing his job, you know what I'm saying? He was snapping when he had to snap. You see what I'm saying? But think about the situation to where I believe it's the sons of Zebedee. You know, was basically trying to shoot a child away. And the Lord was like, nah, man, bring him here. He that shall humble himself as this child, the same shall be the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. You see what I'm saying? So just because you have this wisdom, knowledge, and truth, you have to actually apply it to your life. You know, you don't want to be no damn tyrant. You know, you feel as if that you've been in the truth X amount of years. Now all of a sudden you become a tyrant. Feel as if that you could talk to Yahweh Shem Shah sheep anyway, offending the Lord's little ones, and think that you're going to get away with it. So, right, this is James chapter 1 and verse 19. It says, wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, and slow to wrath. Right? You can't just go 0 to 100 real quick because somebody asks you a question. You see what I'm saying? Because that's how you get cut. You know, that's how you get cut, and that's how rebuke videos start going out on you. All right, it says, wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, and slow to wrath. For the wrath of man worketh not the righteousness of Yahweh. And you got to understand, you know, if you, like, when you come into this truth, not even coming to the truth, when you have children, you see what I'm saying? We don't really have perfect examples of good parents. A lot of brothers don't have a perfect example of a good parent growing up. You know, it was a whole lot of generational trauma passed down from generation to generation because we're cursed people. You see what I'm saying? To where certain characteristics, we pass it to our children. You know, your son come ask you a dumb question. The first thing you do is snap on your son. Now your son walk away crying, you know, run away. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? You're not passing down godly traits to your children. You pass it down anger to your children. You feel me? Saying you want to feed your son with wisdom, knowledge, understanding. And a lot of men in the truth don't understand that because they don't have children. I'm somebody who used to be angry. You see what I'm saying? I'm somebody who used to be angry, you know, coming from Chicago, you know, just seeing how everybody just move in anger. You see what I'm saying? Ready to take it with you quick. And it's normalized. You see what I'm saying? So, right. I'm somebody who coming from anger and somebody who has sons. So now I have to move in a way when it comes, and I have to treat my sons away. You know, I don't want to pass anger to my sons, and now all of a sudden my sons have a sense of low self-esteem or pride. You get what I'm saying? We don't have to be angry all the time and pass anger to our children, man. It says, for the wrath of man worketh not the righteousness of Yahweh. Wherefore lay apart all filthiness and superfluity and naughtiness, and receive with meekness the engrafted word, which is able to save your soul. So, right, you got to become that new person. See what I'm saying? Certain things that you can't do, and there's certain things that you can't say. And there's certain times where Yahweh Shem Shah let you off the hook, you know, to say everything that's on your heart because he put it on your heart. You see what I'm saying? But certain people have this wisdom, knowledge, understanding. You know, they get praised by the elders and apostles. And then next thing you know, they just become straight up niggas. You get what I'm saying? They become straight up niggas. And I learned, like, just being in this truth, it's a certain form of what a man is in Florida that might not be that same form of what a man is in New York or Chicago, or you know what I'm saying? You might go to New York, everybody be fucking mad, angry as fuck. You see what I'm saying? You speak to a nigga get to looking at you like, bro, who the fuck you talking to? You come to Florida, everybody, what's up, bro? I'm all well, brother. I'm just chilling, enjoying my day, man. Hey, man, you enjoy the rest of your day. Be blessed. You see what I'm saying? So them two former men, one of them got angry and he trying to say that this is the version of a real man, and the other is a kind of more of a brotherly man. You see what I'm saying? So it gets to a point to what manner of man do you want to be? The manner of man you want to be is, according to what's written, according to who Yahweh Shema Shah told us to be. Not walking around with hella anger, which we all got shit to be angry about, but you ain't finna sit right here and take it out on no brother, poking your fucking chest out all day and feeling as if that you this big dog because you spent X amount of years in the truth, and then as soon as somebody else poke their chest out, now all of a sudden he wicked, he can't take instruction, he can't take a rebuke. No, nigga, you just a fucking disrespectful ass nigga, and that shit should have been out of you a long time ago. But yo the people that's over you ain't tell you that you were supposed to been cast off that man. Plain and simple. So right, it says, wherefore lay apart all filthiness and superfluity of naughtiness, and receive with meekness the engrafted word, which is able to save your soul. But be ye doers of the word, and not hearers only, deceiving your own selves. So right, and that's just what it is, man. You don't want to be out here portraying yourself to be this amount of person, on everywhere else, social media, whatever case may be. You get to be a nigga, because your elders told you, just be Clark Kent. So now you get to be a nigga on social media and then fake like you're just a holy motherfucker on goddamn YouTube. You see what I'm saying? Hell no. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, Daniel, they was praised in Babylon, for being righteous. You see what I'm saying? So we can move about and be some righteous men. You ain't got to tell everybody you're a Hebrew. That's not what I'm saying. You feel what I'm saying? But you ain't got to just sit right here and be a straight up nigga and then claiming that you being righteous and shit. You blending in and shit. Talking about this Clark Kent. Hell no, nigga, you hiding your light under a bushel is what the fuck you doing. You see what I'm saying? So right. It says, but be ye doers of the word and not hearers only, deceiving your own self. For if any man be a hearer of the word and not a doer, he is like unto a man that beholdeth his natural face in the glass, for he beholdeth himself and goeth his way, and straightway forgetteth what manner of man he was. All right, and that's just what it is, man. That's just what it is, man. So you want to apply these things to your life, and you basically want to become a new man. You feel what I'm saying? Like somebody's supposed to know that there's something different about you. You get what I'm saying? Something that they can't really put their finger on, which we still have a form of mysteriousness. They just know it's something else about you. I walk around the job and I basically, people be asking me like, hey, you a Muslim? I'm like, no, I ain't no Muslim. It's just something about you. You something. You feel what I'm saying? Asking me questions, behaving yourself wisely like King David. You see what I'm saying? Being wise like Hananiah, and Mishael. I believe that was their name, Salaki, if I butchered it. You see what I'm saying? And Daniel, in Babylon, they was loved for their wisdom, man. That meek, childlike heart. You ain't got to walk around like no extra ass tough guy. You want to be an extra tough guy everywhere you go. Oh, they know not to fuck with me. You see what I'm saying? That shit ain't going to get you nowhere because these niggas got guns. You're going to get your dumb ass shot. You see what I'm saying? So, right. I want to be meek and humble, man. So, right. It says, if any man among you seem to be religious and bridleth not his tongue, but deceiveth his own heart, this man religious is in vain. So right, you got to know how to speak when it comes to a brother, man. So right, it's this is the word bridleth in a Blue Letter Bible.
Strong's G 5468. Chalinagogeo.
Right, it says to lead by a bridle, to guide, to bridle, hold in check, to restrain. You see what I'm saying? So you have to learn how to restrain yourself when that time comes. For brothers out there who got children, it's a certain form of stress that you had to go through to turn you to a real man, especially if you had children young. You see what I'm saying? So it gets to a point to where if your little son come and ask you a question, right? You might think to yourself, That's a dumbass question. You see what I'm saying? But I'm gonna talk to my son like he's a true individual. I don't want him to feel as if that he can't come and ask me no question. I'm gonna check myself, and I'm gonna restrain myself, and I'm gonna become a new person, and I'm gonna make sure I don't disrespect. You know what I'm saying? Disrespect my son and discourage him. You see what I'm saying? So when words come out my mouth, even when it's to my little sons, because how they was born, I just know that Yahweh Shema Shah dealing with them, you know, and when it come to them, you know, I got to kind of put myself in check, you know, and be a great example. Yahweh Shema Shah have basically given me great examples, you know, growing up on the balance of a man, you know, having a man in the house, you know, that's dealing with your mom, and he shows forth balance, you know, giving you the correct form of discipline and giving you the correct form of love to make sure that you grow up to be a man, not no damn tyrant, not no tough guy. You see what I'm saying? No super ass tough Israelite, you know. So right, you have to restrain yourself, you know, when you're dealing with Yahweh Shema Shah sheep. You feel what I'm saying? Not expecting somebody to just be constantly getting beat over the head. You have to cut yourself with the same word too, you know. So right. It says, verse 27, pure religion is undefiled before Yahweh and the Father, in this, to visit the fatherless and the widows in their affliction. So right, you have to understand, a lot of brothers, you see what I'm saying, they come from homes with single mothers. They ain't got no fathers to really teach them how to be a man. You feel what I'm saying? And teaching somebody how to be a man is a balance. It ain't always about fighting and getting strong and being tough, which that's part of it. Of course, we gonna want to seek to be strong. You see what I'm saying? You have to be patient. You know, you have to be patient in certain situations. You know, you have to learn how to maneuver out here and finesse. You get what I'm saying? So right, it says pure religion is undefiled before Yahweh and the Father, in this, to visit the fatherless and widows in their affliction, and to keep himself unspotted from the world. So right, you don't want to be out here partaking in every single thing that you can get into just because we in Rome. You know, now you're doing what the Romans do. You feel what I'm saying? So you have to have a certain form of balance. And until I was able to become a father, you know, it's hard for me to get it. I was ready to snap on anybody, talk shit to anybody. You see what I'm saying? Arguing with females and shit like Charleston White. Now I know how to maneuver and get what I want out of females. Eve be real damn, bruh. Eve be hella nice. You see what I'm saying? As long as you ain't dealing with them. You know? Eve be hella nice, man. I see it all. I work at a hospital full of women. And I ain't never seen so many women ready to do exactly what I tell them to do. You see what I'm saying? Just because I kind of maneuver in a way, you feel me? Kind of maneuver in a way to get what you need and get what you want, which I don't be dealing with none of them. You know, I don't touch none of them. You feel what I'm saying? But it's just the way you maneuver and finesse out here. You ain't got to do everything with anger. You know, female come up and, you feel, bitch, I'm a god. Dumb bitch. You feel me? I'm just Salakia for my language. You ain't got to be, you know, extra tyrant over everybody. You know, have some game about yourself and some finesse to be able to get what you want. This is Proverbs chapter 15 verse 1. Salakia for my cursing, man. It says, a soft answer turneth away wrath, but grievous words stir up anger. So right, a soft answer can turn away wrath. You know, as long as you moving righteously in the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shah, he'll make your journey prosperous on, you know, what you're seeking for. You see what I'm saying? Whether that's with women, people, men. You feel what I'm saying? Just being humble and meek. You know, and there's a lot of examples of brothers I know, especially in the Lions Den camp. You know, especially in the Lions Den camp, like brothers been in the truth way before you. You know, they still act like, you know, brothers, man, real brothers. It's crazy, man. It's humbling. You know, it make me want to do the same thing. Make me want to strive to be like them. It says a soft answer turneth away wrath, but grievous words stir up anger. So you done poked your chest out at the brother because he asked you a question, and then now you expect him to hurry up and put his head down and kiss your damn shoes or some shit because you mad. Whole time you talking to the Lord sheep. And then now he receive it with humbleness, right? He received what you said with humbleness, and Yahweh Shema Shah bless him. And now the Lord saying your big brother over you to do the same shit to you. Now your little heart hurt. You can't take what you dish out. You feel what I'm saying? And then now, the only time you're able to receive some shit is if somebody beating you across the head and you think that this is real true love. You see what I'm saying? Now you think that this is how shit's supposed to be, when it's really not. You're just a tyrant, and you're around a whole bunch of tyrants. And now you're a product of your environment, calling yourself the Lord's hopeful elect. So, all right. Once again, Salakia for my language. This is the book of 1 Peter, chapter 5, and verse 1. It says, "The elders which are among you I exhort, who am also an elder in the witness of the sufferings of Hamashiach, and also a partaker of the glory that shall be revealed." Right? It says, "Feed the flock of Yahweh which is among you, taking the oversight thereof, not by constraint, but willingly, not for filthy lucres, but of a ready mind." So, right, man. Yahweh Shema Shah had basically set elders over us that's going to feed us with wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. You see what I'm saying? That's going to, teach, do things the correct way. We have plenty of examples of people that's doing it for filthy lucre's sake. Those guys in purple, IUIC, worth hella millions of dollars. Everything they do is for $1. They even stand with they'll stand and hold hand in hand with Muslims for $1. They'll drop videos that talking about how they don't hate Esau for $1. They're going to do everything for $1. You see what I'm saying? These guys do everything they do for filthy lucre's sake, But our elders and apostles, mainly of the great millstone, and the brothers that teach a likewise doctrine, they do what they do, of a ready mind to make sure that they push Yahweh Shem Shah sheep towards the stars, towards the chariot, to make sure that we know these breakdowns, make sure that we have this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. See what I'm saying? A lot of people in this truth doing this shit, to buff up themselves, man. So, right, it says, verse 3, "Neither as being lords over Yahweh's heritage, but being examples to the flocks." All right, you have to be an example. You have to be able to take rebuke and give it when it's time. As soon as somebody asks you a question, the first thing out your mouth shouldn't be no carnal shit. You see what I'm saying? So if that's the case, your ass need to be holding the camera. If the first thing you do is, and holding the camera, that's a job in itself. You see what I'm saying? We all gonna get crowns. That's a job in itself. I'll hold the camera, if my elders let me, So, right. It just gets to a point to where you don't need to be in the forefront if the first thing gonna come out your mouth is some carnal shit. You got to work on that, man. Maybe you need to go, you feel me? You have to work on that. Right, just going back to the children's situation, man. You can't just talk to your children anyway, and then now when they grow up and have hella anger, and then you wonder where they got this anger from. They got it from you. You feel what I'm saying? Now they're not sure if they can even talk to you about things, man. They're not sure if they can tell you anything. They're now kind of secretive and moving all type of, you feel me? Now they secretive as a motherfucker, because every time you tell them something, the first thing you do is beat them across the head. You's a tyrant, man. It says, verse 4, "And when the chief shepherd shall appear, ye shall receive a crown of glory that fadeth not away." So, right, just because we weren't doing this to be a lords over the Lord's heritage, but examples to the flock. You see what I'm saying? I picture myself and Jacob's trouble having spiritual power. Yahweh Shem Shah probably give me one plate, right? Hey, go over there and get some food, and I have the power to multiply that plate into 1,000 plates, to feed all the Lord's sheep. You see what I'm saying? Those are the type of things that I think about to try to, the mindset of being a good shepherd. You see what I'm saying? Trying my best and striving to be a good shepherd for Yahweh Shem Shah, because he the one who can abase you. You feel what I'm saying? Breaking bread, helping brothers, just like Yahweh Shah helped brothers. So, right, it says, verse 5, "Likewise, ye younger, submit yourself to the elders." So, right, we got to learn how to take rebuke. You feel me? When it's time, because that's what's going to make us better. But I know for a fact, my elder, my bishop, they don't even be coming all extra. They don't be coming all extra tyranny, moving like a damn tyrant. And every brother in the Lions Den be on point. Which we take our rebuke and we go on about our day. But the elders, they ain't going to just beat you down and stomp on you. You feel me? Throw you over there, make you shadow box, and make you spar with, you know what I'm saying? All type of shit, man. So, right. It says, likewise, ye younger, submit yourselves to the elder. Yeah, all of you be subject one to another, and be clothed with humility. For Yahweh resisted the proud and giveth grace to the humble. And that's just what it is. The Lord resisted the proud. You know, you be in the gym throwing hella weight about yourself and think that you somebody special, think that you strong as a motherfucker. And then until you at work, walking, and that cart hit the back of your ankle. The first thing you think about is, ooh, Lord, please forgive me. He'll make you realize that you ain't nothing but flesh and blood, and that you do have pain receptors. You can feel pain. You feel me? No matter how much high and mighty you get lifted up on this side, the Lord will extinguish that fire, if it ain't built around humility. And he didn't show me that a million times. A million times. So, right, it says, verse 6, humble yourselves, therefore, under the mighty hand of Yahweh, that he may exalt you in due time. And that's just what it is. You have to be humble. You're always waking up with a mindset of, can I be better for Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua? Not living your life looking for the next piece of pussy every goddamn day. Trying to be the toughest nigga, alive, man. That shit ain't gonna get you nowhere. That shit gonna make your ass gonna be fertilizer. So, right, Salakia for my language, man. So, right, this is the book of Matthew. Come on, Salakia. Matthew chapter 18 and verse 4, it says, whosoever therefore shall humble himself as this little child, the same is greatest in the kingdom of heaven. So, right, that's the mindset you want to have, as a little child. Children, children, they basically have a form of, undoubted faith, belief. They just know that they're going to eat. They know that they're going to be protected. They don't worry about bills. You see what I'm saying? That's how we want to be for Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. It says, verse 5, and whoso shall receive one such little child in my name, right? You have to understand who you're talking to. First thing you do is fly off the handle because somebody asks you something, and it hurt your little ego, it hurt your emotions, and the first thing you do is get to bitching up like a fucking black woman, bro. You feel me? First thing you do is turn to a straight up black woman, get to snapping, and she forget that she just a woman. So you have to understand, you have to be in that same type of mindset. It says, and whosoever shall receive one such little child in my name, receive it me. So, right, you ain't even received the child. So how you gonna receive Yahweh Shah? You might receive the image. It says, verse 6, but whoso shall offend one of these little ones which believe in me, it were better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck, and that he were drowned in the depth of the sea. So, right, you have to understand that you ain't nobody special. I don't care how long you been in this truth. You feel what I'm saying? It don't matter how long. King David could be born tomorrow, right? King David could be born tomorrow. We could be in Babylon for 18 more years. You feel what I'm saying? 18 years from now, you disrespected your very king that's over you. You feel what I'm saying? Time and time again, and then now next thing you know, all of the half of that what's written in Psalms was about your ass. You see what I'm saying? So, right, you have to understand, like, watch who you're talking to, because you could be talking to one of the Lord's prophets. Somebody that's greatly beloved in the sight of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua is basically what I'm saying. I pray this lesson was edifying. Shalom, on to the next.